I'm feeling like I'm on the mend anyway. Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird week for everyone. But I feel like it's coming to the end of my illness anyway, so I'm glad to be back on anyway. Nick, yes. hmm I may as well put the story up. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking and keep going, but I don't know what I'm. Yeah. That's it. Tomorrow I am away to what do they call it? The big smoke, as we call it here. Big smoke. Um, Meeting up with a mate I haven't seen since when has it been? Probably since May. Probably one of my best mates as well. And we're just going to be drinking, listening to the music of U2.
Right.
So
Just give us
looking
a.
forward to that.
Let me see if they can hear me now. Nick, let us know in the chat if you can hear me. I've got the live stream up, so let's see if I can hear myself. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Hold on. I'm just waiting for the stream to catch up. Yeah, we're good.
hmm
Thank fuck for that.
We're
Jesus
good.
Christ. Right.
One of
As you
them weeks, as you said.
one of those fucking weeks. So, as you can see, we weren't prepared for this. We were supposed to have an AZ generator, but due to a family thing, things happened. So we've been sort of not quite prepared. However, we've decided to bring you some content anyway because we thought we can't leave you a day without content. We might as well bring you something. So we're going to do a little bit of news, a few little transfer stories floating around, a few bits injury stories, and then we're going to do a ask the channel anything thing. And we've got some questions in the Instagram. So we're going to go to those. We've got some on the Twitter, so we'll get to them. And then if you're in the chat, drop your questions in the chat and we'll get to them as well. We can answer as many as we can as possible. And because it's one of those weeks, I'm on the whiskey because fucking hell, I need one. Adam, he's on the vit hit because he's not well. So he's not joining us in the drinking. But what's the old Irish for cheers? I can't remember.
We usually say sláinte.
Sláinte. Yeah, so sláinte, or
hmm
when I was in Crete, we did a lot of yamas. So yamas to everywhere.
Yeah, mass. Mm.
Right, let's get to the first story, shall we? First news story is Cody Gakpo. Obviously, Cody Gakpo was linked to Manchester United in the summer. Ultimately, we ended up going with Anthony for, I believe, is it £86 million, 90 odd million euros. After being linked with Gakpo as a backup, but according to the Mail Sport Online, Man United could make a fresh move for the informed PSV forward Cody Gakpo next year. I assume that could be summer or January. I don't know when they say next year. It could be either. I assume summer because I don't think we're going to spend in January. They could, after opting to sign the 86 million Ajax forward Anthony this summer. Thoughts on this, Adam? Do you think we should have got him in as well, or instead of Anthony, or do you think it was we'd already spent too much in the summer, and you think that it was inevitably going to end up being Anthony? And would you take him in January or next summer and add him to what we've already got?
I think when you look at it in hindsight, he's a player that can play down the middle too. And given the injuries we have now, I think we take him now, and we wish
What
we had him right
What was
now.
the goals that you'd give the start? What was the stats that you had?
The stat, the last time I checked, it could have been over a week ago. He had 9 goals and 9 assists in something
Jesus,
like I think 13, 14 games,
so very good.
and like really, really good. And not many people notice about the lad too, but he's actually quite tall. He's 6'2", so he's good in the air as well. He's rapidly fast as
Yeah.
well, and he's really good in the ball. And obviously, he's a good finisher too if he's scoring these goals, and he's a good creator too. Um, I do wish we got him, and going into the January window, I do hope we get him. It'll be interesting to see now, does he get picked for the international side? Um, and how he would do with the World Cup. But if he had a really good World Cup, would the price go up? I think he doesn't have too long left on his contract, and that's why the reported fee, I think, was about, what was it, 34, 35 million
Yeah, something
at
like
the
that.
time. I think honestly, for that price, we should have gone in for him at the time, in additional to what we have. But we kind of left a lot of those two big money spending deals till late. We did,
Yeah,
obviously, because one of the deals that we were trying to do didn't get over the line and couldn't get over the line.
yeah,
So maybe it was a bit of panic in that. Yeah, it's a bit touchy with Nick, so we won't
yeah.
mention it.
If he's in the chat, we won't mention that name,
Yeah.
just in case. Yeah, I think as we'll get onto later with some of the injuries we may or may not have coming into the derby, it could have been a good option, could it? Because like you said, he's playing down the centre at the minute. He's got 9 goals and 9 assists in 13 odd games, maybe more at this point. And we are short of a striker at the minute. We're short of forward options because I think our right wing slot is looking quite healthy. Sancho and Anthony is good there. Our left wing's looking a bit short. That's quite short. And our striker department is non-existent at the minute, pretty much. So, yeah, I would have got him in for sure. I would have spent a bit of extra money because if we're not going to spend in January anyway, why not spend the extra money? Because we weren't planning to spend that amount anyway. So why not? What's another 35 million at the end of the day? But yeah, we'll see what happens. Just one to keep your eye on anyway. Let's move on to the next story. This is a guy I don't know much about, if I'm honest with you. I don't watch much Serie A anymore. I used to watch a lot of Serie A back when it was on Channel 4 in the 90s. I used to watch a lot of it, but not so much anymore. Man United are set for a Irving Lozano transfer battle between Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig, and Everton, who are all keen on the star. Napoli set to demand around 27 million for his services. I don't know much about him, Adam, to be honest with you. Do you know anything about him? Do you fancy him? Is he any good? Like, honestly, I couldn't give you much.
I'm probably not the best person to come to. I base probably my knowledge around them on FIFA,
Yeah,
if I'm being honest.
better than mine.
But well, what I know, I believe he's Mexican
Yes.
winger.
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah, Mexican winger. He got into the team of the week on Ultimate Team this week, so he must have had a good game there.
Is this because of the transfer story? Is that why they put him in?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But he got into I believe he got into the Serie A team of the season last year, on the right side, but he's playing this season on the left. So maybe it could be something that he's looking at, someone who can play left and right again, because having the option of a player who can play both wings really, really helps out, especially in the event of injuries. We're just lacking it up front. That's the really only thing. If we had a few kind of versatile players who could play different multiple positions, like I believe Lissandro as well can play 2-3 positions.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of profile I think we should be looking at. Anthony can play, I believe, anywhere on the left or right. So I think that's something that Eric Ten Hag does think, especially going forward in the event of injuries. He wants to sign players who can play in multiple positions, and this lad can play either wing. So
I'm gonna look.
He could be an option. 27 million, did you say?
Yeah, I'm gonna look up his stats now. So for this year, he's got his 6 matches, 1 assist. So not the best start to the season. 1 appearance in the Champions League as well. I believe they qualified for the Champions League. Let's have a look at last season, just so we can have a bit of a comparison. There we go. Serie A, 21-22, 30 matches, 5 goals, 5 assists. So again, not greatest sort of records, like not shite, but like not the greatest record, I suppose. And then
Anthony too. Anthony didn't necessarily have a great record too.
Yeah, maybe Ten Hag sees something in him. Maybe is an option there. But yeah, it's one again, another one to keep your eye on. Mexican guy, Mexican player, obviously very famous. We had Chicharito, who's our sort of like Mexican player, who one of the most fantastic players I've seen in the United shirt. Again, brought out that sort of super sub mentality that Solskjaer left. I think he seemed to play way better off the bench than he ever did starting for us.
He did.
It was surreal. It was very surreal.
And as a player too, he wasn't that tall, but he always scored headers.
Yeah, he was very good. It strangely was very good at headers. But there you go.
His first goal was technically a header for United as well. It rolled up his leg, hit him in the face.
They all count, mate. They go in the
I think
back
that
of the
was
net.
against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Goes in the back of the net. I don't give a shit why it hits it off. I'll count it. It's all good. Yeah. Last final story. There was a couple of rumours going around that a few United players may be a doubt or even missing entirely for the Manchester derby. Obviously, we'll do our match preview on Saturday for the derby, and then we'll have our match coverage on Sunday. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and join us for that. Be really good sort of build up. Very exciting. Finally get Premier League football back after it's been like a month of no Premier League football.
About a month.
Oh, I hate international football.
I don't know why we got affected. Not even international football. I don't know why we got affected
Yeah.
personally from something else.
Yeah.
Like, and other teams got to play it. Like, where's the fairness in that?
Bullshit. Yeah, we'll get into a political debate another day. But yeah, let's look at this. So, dreams are Martial is definitely out I believe still with an Achilles injury, so he's definitely not going to be there. And then there's some rumours about Rashford not starting, possibly. He's a doubt. He's 50-50 at this point. But I believe Severe in the group chat said, we have used these sort of tactics before and said players that are not available, they're a doubt, especially in derbies and stuff like that. So it could be a little bit of mind games from Ten Hag. And Harry Maguire also limped off in the England game with a hamstring injury. I don't think he was going to start anyway. I believe Varane and Martinez would probably start, but that's maybe an option off the bench if one of them got injured, God forbid. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Rashford possibly being a doubt for this game? Do you think it's mind games from Ten Hag, or do you think it's legit that he might not be fit for this game?
Was reading on Twitter today as well that he wasn't seen in any of the training photos, unless that could be planned too. It could be.
Yeah.
It's like, do not take a picture of Rashford, so you never know.
Well, they have
mind games.
They have public training, don't they? And then they have the actual training. So they have the press bits, and then they have that. So they could have just not sent him out for the press one. So
exactly, it could have been that too. It could be all mind games, because at the end of the day, I think that is the one position, especially against City, we need to be hitting them on the counter. So we need pace up front, and if we start, it's looking like if he isn't available, it's going to be Cristiano up front as well. And he just doesn't have that pace, and we've seen it midweek too. Many people are saying the poor lad's finished, but I do think he's injured. I don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll start. Maybe we might give him a run of maybe 30 minutes. It's one thing I've noticed with Ten Hag. He likes to make a key sub on the hour mark anyway. In the last 30 minutes, then you have plenty of time to bring it back. If you get that equalizer in the next 10 minutes, then you can still go on and win the game. So I think he might play Ronaldo till then, and then if Rashford's available, or maybe a little bit of a doubt, just give him 30 minutes then, because it's one thing that Ollie done the whole time playing him through injury, and I think Ten Hag knows not to anyway.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the player's going to be done for the season then, and it's what we saw last season as well. For me, he was playing through injury, but if you're injured, just sit it out.
Yeah, I think Ollie far too much just played the same players over and over again, and you saw, like you said, players playing through injury. Marcus Rashford with a broken back. He was already on the edge, and then he played against, was it Wolves, I believe, and then ended up getting a further sort of fracture and being out for like a long time. He had shoulder injury, he had an ankle injury. It was just like constant. And then Martial said in an interview, didn't it, about being injured and then playing through it, and then people criticizing him. And then with an Achilles injury, it's very, very dodgy. Like if you tear your Achilles, I've known several people who've done it, you're out for a year minimum, and then that's just off your feet for a year. So by the time they get back on grass, back on running and stuff like that, it could be another 3-4 months on top of that. So yeah, if you fuck your Achilles, it's a long-term injury. So I think they're being careful with Martial. Yeah, apparently. I've never done it myself.
That's what I heard.
I've never done it myself, but apparently it's not a good injury to have. Basically, you're fucked. So yeah, it could be interesting, because I definitely don't think we're going to see Martial. I definitely don't think that's going to happen. I think Marcus Rashford will be on the bench. I don't think he's going to start, which, like you said, leaves us with Ronaldo. How confident not without getting too much into the sort of City preview. How confident do you feel with Ronaldo being up front against City? Do you think big game he's going to show up, or do you think we're just going to see more of what we've already seen from Ronaldo?
I did because in the two previous games against City, I don't think he started, did he?
No,
Did he
no.
play in the two games last season? No. So
You had that
he
where he
is due.
Ralph dropped him and then he had an injury, but he had to go
Yeah,
to Lisbon, didn't he? We had that
yeah.
whole saga.
hmm And then was the other one. The other one then was I think he's like one of the kids passed away. I think it was around that time, wasn't it?
Was that not the
I
Liverpool
think that
game?
was the later one.
Was that the Liverpool game?
Or was that the one at Anfield? No, they
Yeah,
applauded him at Anfield, didn't they?
yeah. Was he out for? Oh, he might have been
And
out
he
for a
put.
few games at that point. Yeah,
hmm Yeah, but I think the City away one when we lost 4-1. I think that's the one he missed because of that. Might have been around that time,
yeah,
and I do think he came back and then played against Liverpool after that. But with Ronaldo up front right now, I'm not that confident. And like it's a weird thing to say as well as given the name, but he should have come back. He should have come back that time and had his preseason, get his fitness up there, like get used to the system. Because the only reasons he isn't in the team is because he's not used to the system
yeah,
that Ten Hag wants to play. And look, he can't press as much, but he does it in bursts as well. And we even seen it with Rashford; he doesn't always press. A lot of the time, Bruno likes to go ahead of the striker and actually press from the front that way. But with Ronaldo up front, I'm not necessarily confident in the form he's in. I was watching bits against was it Spain? I think they were playing. He
yeah,
missed two, yeah, two, three decent chances. You'd expect him to finish, and we really need someone who's very, very clinical now. We do, especially when because we mightn't even get two or three chances, and you just need that one chance to score. And if he's missing them, it's going to cost us big, especially against this City team who will absolutely punish you for your mistakes.
yeah. They'll just keep passing around until you make a mistake
Yeah,
or they can pass through you. So it's yeah. I think like you said, he's not used to the system. He's not used to the way Ten Hag wants to play. And I'm also questioning whether his heart's in it, whether he like
mm,
actually, because obviously it was clear he wanted to leave in the summer. He was, Jorge Mendes was trying everything to get him out of the club, didn't happen. And I think Ronaldo is a professional. I think he'll train, he'll do the work, he'll do everything asked of him. But I just think when your desire is not at the club, I think that affects your percentage. Like and in Ronaldo, a player like Ronaldo, 0.5% is massive. Like it's massive, especially at his age as well. There's a couple of questions on Ronaldo in the questions thing, so I won't get too deep into it. But yeah, I think that's a massive thing, and yeah, it's looking frustrating against City if that Ronaldo's our point man. I'm hoping he changes his style up a bit and Ten Hag gets into him and basically says, look, stay in and around the box. Don't be running back. Don't be coming back, and just get Anthony or Sancho or whoever to just ping balls into him, and hopefully he can get a header. He's one of the greatest headers of the ball, so hopefully we can on the counter attack get one of them. We'll see what happens, but yeah, we'll do our full preview on Saturday, so we'll get more sort of deep into that. Right, that is the little bit of news out of the way. Let's get on to some questions. So we'll do the chat first, and then I'll go into the inbox and stuff like that. Nick has got a question. Adam, what is your favourite film?
Oh, what's my favorite film? One that kind of popped into my head right away, and every couple of years I do go back and watch it. It's Shaun of the Dead. I
It's
think
a
it's
good
hilarious.
film. It's a very good film.
Yeah, I really, really like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. I think the two of them, the movies they've done, they're really, really funny. So that, or I actually watched the movie there not too long ago. I thought it was really good. Blow with Johnny Depp.
It's a decent film. It's not bad. It's been a long time
hmm
since I've seen Blow. It's what, like
Yeah,
2002, 2003?
I think it's 2000.
Was it even earlier? Wow. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've
Mm.
seen that film. Nick didn't ask me, but I'm going to give my 2 cents worth anyway.
Go ahead.
I think my favourite film all time is Inception, Christopher Nolan film. Don't know if you've seen that.
Mm. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
a
think
dream within a dream.
I rewatched that a couple of times a year. I think the sound design by Hans Zimmer is fantastic. I think you've got some of the best actors in the world. Tom Hardy, Leo DiCaprio. Like, I think it's fantastic. I'm one of the best directors, one of my favorite directors. So yeah, this is not the film
What was
podcast.
that?
I could make a film podcast because if you didn't know, I did a film degree at Salford Uni. Okay. So my film knowledge is very geeky and very nerdy. Let's put it that way. So yeah, what were you going to ask?
You didn't do Citizen Kane? Study any Citizen Kane at the time?
In college we did. Yeah, we did Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's not always cracked up to be. It's not, but it is what it is. Yeah, we did. I think. All right, let's go with top 5. Give us your top 5 films. Let's see what. Okay. Let's see how much we differ, because I think it's going to differ quite a lot.
In no particular order.
Whatever order. Yeah.
So I said Shaun the Dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to put The Dark Knight in there too.
Good choice.
One of my favorite films
ever. I think that'd be in mine as well. Christopher Nolan as well.
Yeah. That you might disagree with me now. Titanic. I think Titanic's one of the best cinema.
I did not expect that from you. But it's good.
I went through an obsession as a kid with Titanic.
It's a decent film. It's a good director again, James Cameron. I think he's a talented director. Wouldn't put it in. It wouldn't be in any top list for me, but yeah.
Number 4. Who would I go with? I'm such a cinema geek too. I have a cinema pass where I can see as many movies as well.
I've got the same one.
Yeah. Let me think. I'm looking at classics now. I really like Forrest Gump.
I mean,
it has everything. It is
classic for a reason. That film, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it has everything. It has a love story. It has proper, a lovable character.
Yeah.
There's war in it. There's everything goes through history in it.
Death.
A lot of history in it. Number 5. Oh, actually, it popped into my head there. I really did like it, and it's a really sad movie, Schindler's List.
Oh, fucking hell. You can't rewatch that too many times, can you? That is a bleak film. But yeah, I don't think many people could argue with your top 5, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anything in there where I'd be like, what the fuck have you picked in there? I don't think there's anything in there.
There's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
A love story, a comedy, an action, a thriller.
Yeah. Perfect movie night. It's a good movie night, that. That's a good way to say it. All right, let's go with mine. So I put Inception as number 1. Again, this is in no order because it'd be impossible for me to rank it. Spider-Man No Way Home, the late Spider-Man. For me, I know I'm a bit older than you, so my Spider-Man growing up was Tobey Maguire. So to see him in the film and then Andrew Garfield in the same film, I'm sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen it. For me, the reason was in the cinema. I watched it opening night in the cinema, and to feel the reaction in a packed cinema of those moments where they come through the portal and stuff like that was just, it was goosebumps. Like, we were sat in the cinema and the portal opened and Andrew Garfield comes through and a Spider-Man comes through and you're like, is it him? Is it him? And he takes his mask off and the whole audience lost their shit. Absolutely lost their shit. Cheering, clapping. Like, I've never felt a moment like it in the cinema. So for me, it has to be there because it was spine tingling, as the Rock would say. Number 3. Fucking hell. Oh, I've got so many films. I'd say 7. I don't know if you've seen 7.
I don't think I have, no.
So Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, they are 2 detectives and they track a serial killer who kills by the 7 deadly sins. So like gluttony, sloth, wrath, all that sort of stuff. Absolutely amazing film. I think it was 1999, directed by David Fincher, who did Gone Girl, Fight Club, Social Network.
He's a lot of big.
Yes, he's a big director. He's if you've not seen it, Adam, check it out. It's really fucking good. Fantastic film.
I think it's on Netflix too. So
yeah, check it out.
I have a train journey. I might watch.
Love it.
On the train.
Fucking great film. So yeah, you haven't checked it out, get that on there. And then this is going to be a film you won't have heard of. So I studied film. I studied an era in German cinema called German Expressionism, and it was basically a style after World War One. and he's sort of made all these really dark, gothic, strange films surrounded by like sort of the working class and the sort of downtrodden by the rich and stuff like that. So there's a film called Metropolis from like I think it's 1927, I think. So yeah, if you watch it for a film made in 1927, it arguably is not out of place nowadays with some of the effects they were able to create in 1927. It's fucking phenomenal. It's a sci-fi type, dystopian type thing. It's fantastic, and then it's a very long film. They found a recent cut in Argentina because obviously all the Nazis flew to Argentina and they took the film with them. They took the film with them, and they found a cut in Argentina that's 3.5 hours long. And I've got the Blu-ray of that cut, and it's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal film. It's obviously it's a what's the word? Very niche taste, but listen there. Yeah. And then have I got 2 more? Have I got 1 more? Have I done 3?
You've done 4, I think. I think you've
Inception, 7.
Inception, 7. That one. You said something else, I think.
I know. I said Dark Knight previously, like you said. Dark Knight, the Heath Ledger's Joker is in there. I think the best Batman film ever made by a long mile. I don't think there's anything that comes close. I think Christian Bale is the best Batman to ever play. I think Robert Pattinson made a very, very good film. I think that was really good, but I don't think it touches Christian Bale. And Heath Ledger's Joker is... Oh, fucking... Go ahead and watch that, Adam. It's a good film. It's a very good film. Heath Ledger's Joker is mind-boggling how good that is. It's one of the most perfect pieces of casting I've ever seen.
There's a piece... You know the guy who plays Harvey Dent?
Yes. Adam Eckhart.
What's his name?
Adam Eckhart.
Yeah. He was in an interview and he was talking about...
That's the one, yeah.
He was in an interview and talking about how the scene in the hospital, you know, when he has his face kind of, it's all gone. Yeah, and then he kind of puts the gun in his mouth, all this. He was there kind of just walking over and back before the cameras even were rolling. He was like twitching and
Jesus
doing
Christ.
All this. He was method acting. He really invested himself in the role. Yeah. And he said that initially he wasn't meant to speak in that scene, but he kind of improvised a bit of it, where it was leading him on to actually speak. And then that's where they're like, oh, inspired by the coin, heads you live, tails you die.
I think I watched that interview. Didn't he say that when he reaches up to grab him, that wasn't planned either? And like Heath Ledger just caught it, like he just sort of was so in character, he just caught it, and he said it wasn't planned at all, which is that's stunning.
I'm trying to think of, has there been a better casting for
someone? It's hard to argue that. It is. And the thing is as well, people were so against it. I remember online, people were like, oh, who's this pretty boy romantic? Because he's done like romantic films before, and the people were pissed about it. And then he gets that performance. Anyway, this turned into a film podcast. Let's move on. So, final film.
Moving on to football.
Final film is City of God. That's my final favourite film. City of God is a Brazilian film, and it's all about the gangs in the favelas in Rio de Janeiro, and it's set in like 3 different time periods. If you haven't seen it, Adam, fucking watch it. It's phenomenally good. It's violent, it's dark, but it's so good. The use of music is fantastic. Put that on your list as well with 7.
I hope they don't have Fred there shooting, because he'd miss every fucking shot.
Yeah. Very true. But yeah, fantastic film. So go watch that. There's 2 recommendations for everybody who's watching. Go watch them. Right. Another question. Best left-footed footballer ever. Who are you picking? You've got a good few choices. I'll run through a few of the choices. You got Lionel Messi.
Obviously, Messi.
You got Diego Maradona. You got Ryan Giggs. You got David Silva. You got Gareth Bale. You got Raul. Iron Robin. Yeah, there's a few.
There's one that pops in my head too.
Salah.
I'm just gonna say.
Dybala.
No, not even considered. I think when I think of someone with like as a finisher, I don't think anyone can hit a ball sweeter on the volley. It was Robin van Persie.
Oh,
I mean, that's one name that's popped in my head.
The Rooney pass over the top, the Villa, absolutely amazing.
And it's the fact that he's done it for Arsenal too, but it didn't have like, you know, the distance of the pass by Rooney, but it was similar. His technique, I haven't seen anybody like
No,
recreate his technique.
no.
It was so individual, and if it suited him to a T, that so for me, I think from players I've watched, he's probably been the best left-footed finisher I've seen. Messi is a playmaker, fantastic, great passer, great finisher, scorer of goals as well. But as a pure finisher and like deadly striker, Van Persie for me.
I think,
That's in my time now.
yeah, I think Lionel Messi obviously is one of the best football players on the
Hmm.
planet. Can't argue with that. I'm not gonna try and say otherwise. Um, for me, I grew up obviously the classic Manchester United the 90s, early 2000s.
Hmm.
So for me, Ryan Giggs was my hero. Obviously, he's turned out to be an utter dickhead, and we'll leave that
Yeah.
legal trouble over there. I'm not touching it.
Mm.
Um, yeah, he was my hero growing up. There's a reason I wanted to be a winger in footballer. He was everything to me. And
Right
so,
winger, anyway.
hey, uh,
Sorry, I had.
he had to. I know. I saw it. It's like teed up for you, wasn't it? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, fantastic player. Shame about the person, but for me, he was my hero growing up. And yeah, I think the first player I saw play and I fell in love with sort of wingers in the way they play was Kanchelskis. And then I think 2 weeks after I got a shirt with Kanchelskis on the back, he left, which is frustrating because my mum, it used to be like so and so amount a letter when you used to get your shirts printed,
Yeah.
and it's Kanchelskis is a long fucking name, and he left. So like the next shirt I got was Giggs, and I think I got Giggs every year for like God knows how long. And yeah, he's one of my favorite players of all time. So Giggsy for me, I think best left-footed player. Let's go into the Instagram. Let's see what we got. Let's have a look.
I think some people you got to separate the art from the person. Like
Yeah,
it can happen with music, it can happen with
I
whatever.
had
So you can still listen to these. Just the person might be an awful person, but you can appreciate the art still.
I have a lot of trouble with that because there's a band called Lost Prophets. I think if you know who they are. Obviously,
Oh yeah,
Ian
yeah, I know the
Watkins
lead
did
singer.
something utterly horrific, which I'm not going to repeat on this channel, and I can't listen to him
Mhm.
anymore. Like I can't do it anymore. So it's hard for me to separate it. Same with R. Kelly. Like I liked a lot of R. Kelly stuff,
Yeah.
but I just can't. I can't listen to it anymore. But
Mhm.
each person's
Yeah, I
different.
suppose when you put it that way,
Each
I
person
tend to think of
has
Kevin Spacey.
yeah. Each person has their line that they draw, and each person.
Yeah,
Some people can detach it for the thing. It's up to you. It's your own personal
yeah.
opinion. Do like whatever you need to. So let's move on. It's a question in the Instagram. Do you believe we'll have a trophy under Ten Hag this year?
Hmm. Good question. It could be one of the lesser cups, and I could be saying, yeah, here we are, we're going to win this cup, and then I end up going to Old Trafford and we lose to Aston Villa in the next month. So it's a difficult one to say, but the way we're playing, I think we have it in us. I think we can get to a final, whether it's the FA Cup final or the League Cup. I think we can.
Europa League?
Europa League depends how the next game goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
That next game is the big one. We seem to be taking it a bit lackadaisy in the first game, although it was a very, very weird game that
Big change.
I
A lot of
hope
changes, though, weren't there? There was a lot of changes.
there was,
So,
yeah, particularly in the back four as well.
yeah.
But by the time the knockout stage comes, I think we should be looking at maybe playing our best team then in the because I think is there around a 32?
Yeah, it's 32, then 16, and
Yeah.
8, I think. So, it's 2 legs as
Yeah,
well.
hmm, I think once you hit the round of 16, that's when we should be like, looking at our stronger team.
It's
Uh,
tough, though,
but
playing Thursday,
it is
Sunday. Your two best teams.
every week. Yeah,
People have to rotate, man. Like, you have to change it up a little
yeah,
bit. And our squad's not exactly full to the brim, is it? It's
unless
a
yeah,
very, very thin squad. So,
it is. And then you're looking at our centre back options. Harry Maguire's their second choice
oh,
to,
God.
well, third
That's,
choice, I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, it's and I didn't watch the game during the week. I'm sure you did. At
No,
stages, he
no, I
looked all
didn't.
right, and then
I
he just
did.
does that one mistake.
I didn't. I
You
didn't
didn't,
watch
all
it.
right.
I've
Mm-hmm.
international friendlies and the most pointless games on the planet. I do not see the
Mm-hmm.
point. Like it's a waste of everybody's time. Players get injured and nobody wins anything. It's just like, what is the point? Like, just don't get it. But that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think we have it in us to win a trophy this season. Top four and a trophy. I made a bold claim that I think we can finish ahead of Liverpool
I mean,
and
the
Chelsea and
way it's
finish it.
going in a minute, it's possible. Liverpool aren't in great
Yeah.
form. So, what trophy?
And what if we beat City?
Yeah, what trophy?
What if we beat City now?
What trophy would you say you think best chance we get of winning?
Uh, I'm gonna say probably FA Cup.
FA Cup.
I'd love an FA Cup. Like I'd love a
It's
game
been a
at
while, hasn't it?
Wembley.
It's been a while since we've had an
Yeah,
FA Cup. So
the last one,
Van
well,
Gaal.
final that we were in,
Van Gaal was the last
Van
one.
Gaal won it,
Yeah.
and Mourinho lost one because Phil Jones gave away a penalty. Uh, yeah, my good mate gave away
Fucking
a
hell.
penalty that time and let us down. Chelsea ended up winning 1-0 that day.
Yeah.
I think it was under Antonio Conte as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a great day, but I'd love to see about maybe getting tickets if we ever got to Wembley. Wembley, I actually like the venue. It's
I've
a nice
never
venue.
been.
Got to go there over the summer.
I've never been to Wembley, so yeah, I'd love to go. The United final, that'd be
Mm-hmm.
amazing. For me, I think our best chance is Europa League. I think there's very beatable teams in there. I don't think like we should have smashed Real Sociedad and we should have absolutely wiped the floor with Sheriff, which arguably we did, but it took a bit to sort of get going. But
Yeah.
again, we should mop the floor with Ammonia, wherever they are from Cyprus. So, and then the challenges is when, like you said, the last 32 when the Champions League teams drop in.
Yeah.
That's when it might get a bit tricky because like last year you had like Barcelona and stuff like that, so could get a little bit tricky. But yeah, I think Europa League's our best chance. But I'd take an FA Cup. I'll take that all day. Happy to sort of go with that. Next question: Rashford and Martial are doubts. Do we play a false nine and stick with fluidity, or do you start Ronaldo? Which one would you go for, Adam? We touched on Ronaldo earlier, but
We did. I don't think the last time we played against City, I think we did use Bruno in the false nine, didn't we?
yeah,
That day.
yeah,
Yeah.
didn't
And it
didn't
just
work.
didn't work. No, didn't work. And I don't think it'll work. So I think you got to go with a recognized striker. Thing is, if he does get at the end of a chance and does score, imagine the confidence boost he'll get then scoring against your rivals as well. So you have to look at it that way. But I think you can get him till the hour mark, and then if he isn't playing that well, switch to false nine then in the last 30 minutes or something like that. So I think I'd start with Ronaldo, and then perhaps if Rashford isn't actually on the bench, switch to the false nine then.
Yeah, yeah. I think that has to be the option because
Hmm.
otherwise, like you said, it's Bruno up top or it's Sancho down the middle or Anthony down the middle. It's something like that who they don't
Yeah.
play there. It's not their position, and it's going to be a tough going, especially when you need against City. You're not going to get many chances, so you have to have a clinical finisher in there, and Ronaldo's the only one that we have who can provide that sort of
Yeah.
clinical finish. So yeah, and you never know. Like we've counted, I think December was it last year or the year before? We counted Ronaldo out for a long time, didn't we? Like he wasn't scoring and he didn't
Yeah.
sort of do that, and then he ended up providing the sort of winning goal in the champion. Was it the Champions League? Villarreal? Was that the game?
Yeah, he did. He got a last minute goal there. I'm trying to remember where it took him a while. It did, didn't it?
Yeah, he had like a
Get a
month
goal
or
as well.
so.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
never count Ronaldo out. I do think he's slowing down. I do think the age and the lack of game time is catching up to him. So I do think he's at
Hmm.
a precipice right now, and it could just go straight down. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. We have to put our faith in him because we don't have anybody else. So we'll see what happens. We've just really touched on that. There's another question saying, is Ronaldo finished? I've just touched on it. But yeah, Adam, what are your thoughts? Is he on the decline now? Or do you think this is just sort of blip in the road?
It has to be a decline. Just looking at his age, like nobody can outrun age.
No.
It comes to the best of us. It does, and eventually we all have to retire. Especially, it's harsh, especially in football terms, because over your career, it's not that long.
No.
Given other jobs, like in any other field, you could be maybe 40 years, but in football, you only have a period of, if you were lucky, 20 years.
Yeah.
That's if you're very, very
I
lucky.
think most careers are about
Because
15 years, aren't they? Like most.
yeah, yeah, that isn't long. It isn't at all. But this fella, he's managed to go. Is what is he? 39 next year, is it?
Yeah, 39.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to want to actually hang them up yet. He's talking about doing the Euros in 2024 with Portugal. So obviously he wants to continue. I do think he's
I
on the
think
decline.
Portugal would select him no matter what.
Yeah,
That's just who he is.
exactly.
Um, I
Hmm.
think for United,
He's so hurt.
I think United he's done. I think the
Yeah,
dream, the sort of the magic and the dream that we felt when he came back. I think it's over. We need to sort of seriously look at a striker for the long term. If you're in the chat as well, drop your questions in the chat. They're happy to answer them. As long as the questions go, we'll keep going. But in the chat, there is a question from Aaron. Does Maguire genuinely have a future at Manchester United? And I know we touched on Maguire quite a bit, but yeah, Adam, does he have a future at Manchester United?
no,
No.
I don't think he genuinely does. I can't see any way of coming back from. It's sad in a sense because it's a snowball effect, but he hasn't tried to stop that snowball from coming down the mountain at all. Like the abuse just keeps coming, all the scrutiny as well. But then he puts in a performance like he did the last day, giving away the penalty. And I don't know if you've seen it. There was a video on Twitter about this girl's boyfriend, and he's like pausing the TV doing
Oh yeah,
analysis.
he stood
It's
up
like,
in
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's and he does make a
He's spot
great
on.
point.
Yeah, he's spot on.
Yeah, he's like, this is the back four. Harry Maguire's here. He steps up. That creates a space for is it Sule,
Yeah,
who's only scored one international goal. He was saying for Germany to run into, and I think Kai Havertz had a really good chance then, and almost
yeah,
actually scored. So he is giving away a lot of chances, and it's down to him, just him by himself. He's exposing the team he is. I cannot see a way back from this, especially as captain. Like I do think his best option is to actually just get rid of the captaincy from him and take some of the pressure off. Then maybe you won't have as many eyes on you when you're on the bench and that. And then when you're slowly coming back into the team, especially in the Europa League, it's looking like he's going to be playing there. That might be one of the only few opportunities where he can actually regain some form as well.
yeah.
So that's what I think he should do. If he had any common sense, I would call it. Just relieve the captaincy to someone else,
I think
and
again,
it takes a lot of pressure
yeah, I
away.
think again he doesn't help himself with the way he speaks and the things he says in interviews and comments after the matches and stuff. I think Luke Shaw set the example for sort of how you handle being dropped and how you handle being out of form. He was interviewed against after the England game, and he basically said, "Look, the managers, my performance weren't good enough. The managers dropped me. The team's playing really, really well right now. I'm working hard in training, and I'm going to have to take the opportunity when I get a chance in the first team again, whether that's in cups or whatever. I'm going to have to take the opportunity and take my place back." That's how you answer it. There's literally step by step how you answer that question if somebody asks you why you've been dropped or why you're out of form or whatever. And Maguire's he says stuff like, "Oh, I've done this for England. I've done well. Managers pick me all the time, so I must be good." Like stuff like that. It just doesn't help your case, mate. Like it doesn't help. Say, yeah, it's a cliche thing to say from Shaw, and like most players say it, but that's the right thing to say. And a lot of fans would get off your back. A lot of fans would just be
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, cool. He's working hard in training. Hopefully he plays well for us when he gets back in the team." But he just doesn't help himself. It's just PR training.
no,
Like he just needs a bit of help with that. But yeah, I think his confidence is at an all-time low. I think, like you said, the captaincy needs to be taken off him. I think that would help him a lot. And I just think also he needs to sort of move on from Manchester United. Maybe he can play for somebody like go back to Leicester or go to a team of that level, play in a system that suits him as well, like a back five or a back three, whatever you want to call it. I just think he can't work in a high line back four, and that's what that's what Ten Hag wants to play. He wants to play a high line back four, and he wants to play out from the back. Maguire can't do any of that. He's not got the mobility. He's not got the speed. It's just not for him. I hope for the rest of the season, if we don't sell him in January, I hope for the rest of the season he's a good squad player and contributes, just gets his head down and works hard. I hope that, and then we can actually, like Sevilla said, we can get some money from him and sell him. But remains to be seen. We'll see what happens. Yeah, any more questions, chat, shout them out. There's one more in the Instagram. Oh, it's actually from my girlfriend. Shout out to my girlfriend. Do you think we'll be bought soon by any other sort of buyer or the consortium that was previously mentioned? Yeah, do you see us? We obviously had the consortium who have put an official proposal in to buy 26% of the club, hopefully rising to 51%. Obviously, there's rumours of Jim Radcliffe possibly coming in and buying the club, richest man in the UK, and also a United fan. He was linked with Chelsea previously, before Todd Bowley ended up buying it. And then we've got the Michael Knighton thing's interesting, whether it's true. There's a lot of things going on that are a bit dodgy. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of mystery around Manchester United at the minute, especially the ownership. Obviously, the Glazers took out a loan recently because they're struggling with costs and stuff like that. Obviously, they're not going to put their own money in it, because why the fuck would they do that? So yeah, do you see the club being bought or sold anytime soon?
You know, the longer it kind of goes on, I don't think we will see like an overall takeover. I think we could be looking at maybe over a year and a half, could be 2 years even before this consortium come in and actually get that 26%. And if they want to actually raise that to 51%, it could take another couple of years on top of that. It just doesn't happen overnight. Like the only reason the whole Chelsea thing happened that fast was because it had to.
Yeah, because they were
Like,
forced to.
Yeah, they were forced to. The Glazers aren't forced to actually do anything right now. They're still rubbing their hands together, collecting their dividends every year. They still see us as a cash cow. So what's in it to them? What's in it for them to sell at the end of the day? Like, I know they'll get a healthy sum, they will, but they're happy just using us as collateral for other loans as well, because they're dumping the loan on us every time. And they are taking money out of our club and putting it into their American football team as well. They are. They've done that, and what happened then when they actually invested money in them? They ended up winning the Super Bowl. But it's been how long since we've won a league? Coming up to 10 years.
Yeah.
And how long since their own money?
How long since we won a trophy?
Well, 5, 6 seasons now, is it? It could be 6 this season. So I don't think we're going to see a full scale takeover for, could be a while, could be maybe 4 years. Anything like that, but it's good to have other investors coming into the club who are willing to actually take over. I think it's going to be a slow grind, but I do think it'll happen sooner or later, because the amount of abuse that I'm seeing, I'm not even sure if it was a Photoshop, but it was on Malcolm Glazer's grave, that Glazer's out flag.
Love it.
But it looked real, it did. Yeah, it did look real. And then, like, I think they went to the first game of the season, didn't they? The two Glazer boys.
Yeah.
They did. And I know for a fact that the Stretford end was chanting Malcolm's in a box too. So how can you like be content with these customers like seeing these things? Like, you'd want to get rid of that. Like,
they don't care.
I would anyway.
They don't care. Don't give a shit.
No.
Like, they've probably, it reminds me of the Simpsons. Do you remember where Mr. Burns and they're booing him? It's like, no, they're saying boo Earns. It's like, were you booing or boo Earns? It's like, boo! That's what they're being told. No, they're saying, oh, Malcolm he's a fox. That's what they're saying. They're saying Malcolm's a fox. They're not in the box, so they don't give a shit.
Let's go, Brandon, is it?
Yeah, let's go, Brandon. Like, they don't give a toss. Like, they literally, as long as the money keeps going into their bank account.
Yeah.
Bottom line, that's it. That's all they care about. They don't give a shit about the football. They don't give a shit about the fans. No. They don't give a shit about anything other than dividends, leaving the club, going into their bank account. That's it. And until that stops, they're going to hold on to control as long as possible. They're just going to keep all of it as long as they fucking can and bleed us dry and then just leave as soon as they realize can't earn any more cash out of that, and then they'll sell it for double what it's worth probably, because that's the only
Yep.
reason they're going. There's two ways. One is they realize they can't earn any money out of it anymore and they'll leave. Or two, somebody offers them an absolute shit ton of cash for it, like 8 billion, 9 billion, something like around that region. That's the only two ways they're going. Other than that, I don't see them going anywhere in the near future, which makes me sad. It really does. It makes me sad, but it's the reality of the situation. I know Laurie Whitwell tried to doorstep. Who's the, who's the non-ponytail
Joel.
one? Joel tried to doorstep a bit his bank in Washington, is it? Or New York? One or two.
Looking one.
Yeah. Yeah, and apparently he wasn't in every single day that Laurie Whitwell went. Shocking. I do like the campaign as well that a lot of people are doing. They're going on Google and just finding every Glazer business and just leaving really shit reviews. Fantastic. Keep that up. Please keep that up. That's amazing. I absolutely love it.
International fans can actually have an impact in these protests as well. And that's what's going to affect it even more than the people actually, just march and doing these protests. It's the reviews, because it's going to knock a lot of sponsorships, everything like that. So I know there has been a lot of talk around fan channels, especially with the 1958 for a while. I think they didn't necessarily agree with fan channels. But I think they kind of see that it's reaching a bigger audience.
Exactly.
And that's how you actually get change. Because what's the saying? It's like the power of the people. Oh, what is it? It's a good quote. Damn it. Oh,
I don't know the quote. Sorry. Can't help you.
Yeah. The power of the people is more powerful than the people in power.
There you go. So what's the other thing in the FIFA Vendetta? People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. It's the same with football ownership. Owners should be owners should be afraid of their fans. Fans shouldn't be afraid of their owners. It shouldn't be. It should be the opposite way around. And
kind of like how they had that emergency, meeting after we lost against Brighton, so they weren't leaving right after the game.
Yeah, just in case somebody tries to fucking chin them. I don't see them leaving, sadly. As much as I'd love them to leave, they're not going anywhere soon. But let's keep up with the protest. Let's keep up with the review bombing. Let's keep up with not supporting the sponsorships. TeamViewer have pulled out, which is good. We just got to keep on it. Just keep on it. Like if you're interested in doing your part, follow the 1958 on social media, and they'll give you like how to do it and how to sort of help you if you don't live in the UK or you don't live around the Manchester area. They'll show you how to sort of organise yourself so you can make a difference. Final question. Unless anybody else in the chat has got something, drop it in the chat. We're just going to get this final question. It's another Ronaldo related question. Should Ronaldo retire from football, considering his recent performance, or will he make a comeback? I don't know if this means international football or this means football in general, but
if he's talking about football in general, I don't think so. I think he could do a job at a lesser team as well. That will kind of cater to his style, the way he plays, like just feed him chances. I think his days at a giant club are done though. I don't think he can keep up with some of the top teams, such as say. Well, he was being linked with Bayern Munich for a while. They create a lot of chances, although they're not having a great season this season, from what I heard anyway.
For once, yeah.
For once, yeah. Because the only reason I know is because my brother's put a few bets on them, and every time he's bet on them, they've lost.
Oh, got in.
So I was like, yeah, let me know when you have a bet on them so I can bet against them.
Yeah.
But I kind of went off point there. But back to Ronaldo, I think his days at a big club are done. Maybe Napoli could have suited him to a T. So they're not necessarily. They're a big club, but they're not a giant club. They're not a Real Madrid, a United.
They're not competing for the Champions League or Serie A, are they? So
no. Exactly. I think that's. And players do accept that later in their careers. Look at Rooney. Rooney went to Everton, then he went to the MLS. He did.
Gareth Bale. He's gone to the MLS.
Gareth Bale too. Yeah, I can't believe that. And there he is. He's gone now. I wonder, does he see his time at Madrid wasted? But he's also won the Champions League how many times? Like 4 or 5 times.
La Liga as well.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
I do think his days at a top club are done, but I don't think he's finished, as you could say. I still think a team could get, you know, like some decent numbers out of him as well, and he could do a job for someone. Which is why I think sport going back to sport would be perfect, nearly.
I thought that would be the option for him. I thought he would go back to Sporting, um, the end of the summer transfer window, and that's a good final way to end your career. Playing in the Champions League, playing for the club that you started, then you got noticed.
Yeah.
You still get to play for Portugal in the World Cup, and then that's a fantastic way to end your career. But yeah, didn't happen, unfortunately. It could still happen next January or next summer, maybe. We'll see what happens. But I don't think he should retire from football at all. And he's never going to retire from international football. Like, he's going to keep going until the wheels fall off. Like, he is Mr. Portugal. Was it the Euros where he got injured and then he was basically coaching from the sidelines with like an ice pack around his leg and he's shouting at players and stuff like that. So yeah, he's forever going to be involved in football. I don't know how long he's going to be left as a player. Like, I think he'll play until he wants to. I think as long as, if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, there'll always be a club who will go, yeah. Even at age 40, there'll be a club who will say yes because they'll hope for something. But yeah, I think that's the end of the show. I think we're just on an hour. Went a little bit longer than I expected to, but there were some good questions in there. So thank you everybody for your questions on the Instagram. Thank you on the Twitter. Thank you for being in the chat. If anybody else got a quick question in the chat, drop it now. But I'll wrap up while we're waiting for that. Adam, thank you for joining us on the show. I know it was a bit late notice and we changed the show format and all that sort of stuff, but appreciate you joining on the show, mate.
Now we put something together. It worked out well anyway, and I felt it went smoothly anyway.
Yeah, aside from my audio issue at the beginning, but we move on. Yeah, we will have tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have the A to Z generator tomorrow, but I will double check, just make sure that that's happening tomorrow. We'll have the City preview on Saturday. On Sunday we'll obviously have the City watch along and the review afterwards as well. So join us for that. Big game. So finally Premier League football is back. So let's get excited. Let's get pumped up for that. If you're new here, you watch it on demand, or you're in the chat right now and you've not subscribed, please do subscribe. I think like 70% of people who watch our videos are not subscribed. So let's fucking change that. Let's get more people in. The more people who subscribe, the better content, the more stuff we're going to do, and the more you'll get to see. So yeah, it helps everybody. Shout out to Shreyas in the chat. Shout out to Nick, Aaron, everybody in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Follow all the socials handles are at the bottom there. They're also in the description. So follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, everything. We're on everything. Follow us. Just type in Real Voice Talk. You'll find us. Adam, anything else to say before we go?
Well, I am away for the weekend, but I'll be watching the game anyway in Dublin on Sunday. So I'll just give my quick thoughts about that. I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going to go with a draw.
Safe bet.
I think I if you were offered it, I'd
take a draw.
Pull it out of your hand. I would. Yep, I take a draw. It wouldn't be a bad result. But prediction wise, I'm going to say Eriksen's going to get his first Manchester United goal.
I'll take that. I have to see Haaland's got a score on it. He's going to score.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. It's definitely happening. But I'll get into my thoughts on it. Hopefully I'm on the preview on Saturday, so I'll get to my thoughts there. But yeah, thanks for joining us, mate. And everybody in the chat, subscribe, like the video.